Hi dear listeners, this is Lilia and you're listening to Lilia's Sunday podcast. This is episode number 4. I've had a fantastic morning and a great night. I hope that you've had some real nice time tonight as well. Yeah, I spent the night in my bed. Well, this is the weekend, you just have to relax and you need to find your own way to do it. Yeah, so here's the topic of today's podcast, and it is how much time do I need to get to level C1? Right, so level C1, you probably know what it is if you're learning English. This is advanced level of English, so this is a pretty high level of English to get to if you're learning the language. Right, first of all, I'd like to say that everyone, thanks a lot for listening on Podomatic.com, which is a podcast website. In the rankings, I'm on the place 58, and yesterday I was 62nd, yay! Right, so I've got quite a few downloads now, and that's all thanks to you, my listeners. So keep listening to Lilia's Sunday podcast. Right, thanks a lot. Please subscribe and add me as a friend on VK and Facebook. And you can also find me on Podomatic. That's liliacardenas.podomatic.com. Right, so that's where you can go and get the latest episodes of Lilia's Sunday podcast. Right, so, let's get straight into business. Right, so how much time do I actually need to get to level C1? The first and probably a very general thing that I'm going to tell you is it all depends on your current level of English. Right, it's as simple as it is. Most of my students who ask this, for some reason, are pre-intermediate learners of English. Right, and that's certainly not a good bit of advice because it's very general. And in this podcast, as I've told you before, I'm trying to give you some practical and specific advice. So be careful, it's coming in a moment. So here is a very common myth, right, and now I'm going to partially destroy it for you. So here is what it is about. Well, most people spend 4 to 6 hours a week in an English classroom, and they think, oh yeah, I'm studying at a language school, I go there 3 times a week, so in a short time the teacher will teach me English and I'll be fantastic. Right, okay. Please remember one simple thing. The teacher cannot teach you, it's just you. I've had students who used to attend English classes every day, but still they couldn't speak English. So here's step 1. You should realise that it's not the teacher who takes all the responsibility for teaching you the language, it's you learning it. So after you realise the responsibility is on you, you should do as much as you can to improve your English. Do you remember the first bit of advice that I gave you in the very first podcast? You need to listen if you want to speak, and you need to read if you want to write. Yeah, you can only learn English through speaking. There is no other way. When you read and listen, in other words, when you're exposed to English, you develop your instinct for knowing what's right and what's wrong. At the end of the day, you learn it to communicate with people. Well, some people say, I can't speak to myself, but why not? It can't compare to face-to-face practice with real people, of course, but some practice at least. It gives you some practice. So if you're attending conversation classes, right, or if you're attending any English classes, conversation or speaking needs to take up most of the time in the classroom, and you should spend less time on learning grammar. Yeah, so most of the time you should learn speaking, yeah, and conversation and how to communicate with people, and spend less time on learning grammar, yeah, because when you see a sentence, right, when you're doing an exercise, and you're looking at it, after you've learnt English for a long period of time, you just realise that you know the right answer just by your instinct. Yeah, you don't really know it because you remember some kind of a grammar rule, yeah? So first you know it, and then you, in your head, you search for the right grammar rule to explain the answer that you've just given. Okay, so if you have 6 hours of classroom English a week, I recommend listening for at least an hour every day. Yeah. So you don't have to listen to everything. You could listen to only what you like. You could listen to vloggers on YouTube. There are lots of videos and video blogs that you can listen to and watch. You could listen to BBC and National Geographic and whatever documentaries. They're fantastic. You could also broaden your mind when you watch them and listen to them, and you also learn some topical vocabulary in terms of English. Also, you could watch interesting films, right? You could start with traditional plots like action movies, comedies, dramas, etc. Maybe those you saw in your first language. Now you can watch them in English because you know what the plot is about and you'll only enjoy the language as you're watching them. So here's the next thing that you should do. You should go out and speak to people. Well, it's certainly easy if you live in an English-speaking country. If not, there are conversation groups in all big cities. If you don't have one in where you live, you could just create one. It's great, isn't it? You socialise, you meet new people, you go to pubs and restaurants, and you practice your English at the same time. Well, think of some lovely activities to do together. Like a spelling bee, Scrabble, Twister in English, a role play. Yeah, just you could have fun, right? Just have fun when you're doing that, and your English will get better and better and better. Yeah. So if you do this, now here's the main thing that we're coming up to. If you do this, if you follow my advice, you'll cover a level in no more than 3 months. If you speak, of course. Right, so the main thing, listen and speak. Listen and speak, yeah? If you want to speak but you don't know where to start, well, you can message me on Facebook or VK and get a Skype lesson, yeah? But, well, actually I'm not here to advertise myself, so that's just one of the options that you could have, right, to improve your English. But generally, this podcast is absolutely free, yeah, completely free, so you just get some free advice in it on how to learn your English. So, right, okay, the idea of the podcast is that you cover a level in no more than 3 months if you listen and speak. If you speak to people, if you listen a lot, if you learn English apart from visiting your English teacher, yeah. So just if you learn English yourself, right? If you are a bit of a self-study, so to speak, so you can calculate how much time you'll need to get to the level you want. Let me quickly remind you what levels there are in the Common European Framework for Languages. So there is beginner, and then comes elementary. Then you have pre-intermediate. After that, intermediate. Then upper intermediate, then advanced, which is C1, and then proficiency, which is C2. And here's the final tip. You should enjoy it, right? You must enjoy it. You'll never learn English if you don't like it, right? So you need to like everything that you do. Only then will you become successful, right? So like it, enjoy it, find topics you like, listen to things that you like. Don't stick to the course book if you don't like it. Right, so I'd really love to hear from you how you managed to master your English up to a high level. So please email me and tell me about your experience of learning English. If you're a high level English speaker, I'd really love to hear from you about your experience. So please email me or message me on Facebook or VK, right? I'm looking forward to hearing from you. I'll record a set of interviews with advanced and proficient speakers of English as a foreign language in the near future, right? So I promise to talk to people who are a high level English speakers, who are high level English speakers, and I think that they could share some nice tips with you as well, right? Okay, well, thanks a lot for listening to this episode of Lilia's Sunday podcast. I'll speak to you next Sunday. Please add me as a friend. Subscribe to my podcast on podomatic.com. That's liliacardenas.podomatic.com. And have a lovely Sunday. Yeah, you could also spend some more time in bed or wherever you want. Yeah, just have a nice time. Yeah, right. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.